Hi everyone, it's Mish here and welcome to my channel. If you are new, thank you for stopping by and I hope that you like what you see and want to come back for more. And if you're one of my returning crafty friends and kindred spirits, then I thank you so much for hopping on again today with me to do another page in the Daphne's Diary Gluebook journal. If you are new, this is a series that's been running for, I believe, a couple years now, and it's based on using images from Daphne's diary to create some collages or interactive pages or some kind of maybe a technique. All the pages that you are seeing now are ones that are on the playlist, so I would just say go check them out. And this is the first edition. And then we are now working in our second one. And this one here is filling up quite quickly as well. I really love, well, I like a lot of the pages, but some of the ones in this one here are, I think are my favorite ones. And this has, like I said, been filling up. So I think we only have, I think I was saying maybe, well, let's count them. There's a double spread, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna do, thought there was a double spread somewhere. I wasn't sure if I was, yeah, right there. So there's a double and there's a single. And today we're gonna be working on the single. And so I'm just going to set this aside. Now I've already gone ahead and created the next volume and they're all the same size. This one here, I usually cut this panel off and I wanted to use the image that was on the back of this, so I actually just photocopied this one and just put a copy of it. And I didn't like this plate of food, so I just took a flower that I had and glued it on. So we're ready to go with round 3 when the time comes. Already prepared for that. The images that we're going to use today are from number 3. And I've already cut out just a background page from a paper pad that I had. The image that is going to be the focal point is going to be this little lady reading. I thought she was so sweet. Now she's on the back of the cover page here. Okay, so we've got her. And then I went to the poster again. So this poster that had all kinds of items on it, which we have used already. I have cut out this little bouquet of flowers from the poster, and I cut out this book. That's gonna come into play as well. I also wanted, and I will probably revisit these butterflies, but there's a bunch of butterflies here, okay, and I didn't take one of them, but I just cut one of the, on the opposite page, the instruction page there, I just cut out that one. And then I have a bit of border, and that's come from the recipe cards here. So I just kind of cut that off, and I have another strip here. And then I just wanted a couple little accents. So I've cut, can't remember where that came from, but it is from this issue. And for the life of me, I'm not exactly sure. I didn't mark that page. But then for the butterflies, there is a page that has all kinds, and I love when there's a spread that has a number of little butterflies, around the page, and also has some kind of floral elements. Now I thought about cutting off a bunch of these and having her kind of sitting in front of a wall of wildflowers, which you could definitely do that if that's if you'd like that. I just kind of tried to imagine it in my mind and thought it might be a bit busy. So let's get started. I'm going to, so the kind of the layout that I'm thinking about is I'm going to have this kind of down at the bottom just to ground. Now, in some of the images, there is some washi tape or your own washi tape if you'd rather to use that, which is fine. I just kind of saw this and thought that that would work well. And I'm just going to put, I've pulled a few of my own washies, which I might use to embellish kind of later. But I'm thinking that's going to go there. We're going to put her up with some foam, some foam tape. I'm going to use some thread too, which is why I was saying, oh, just wait a second. But I'm going to use the thread with the, some metallic thread with the butterfly. And then a little bit for her head. Okay, so by putting the dimensionals, that's going to just lift her up and define her a bit from the back of the collage. The other thing I kind of thought about was maybe using a doily as well, but you can also distress. I don't often distress a lot, but if you like you like to distress, you can distress your edges, distress along the edges of your page. But I'm thinking that let's put this down, and then we're going to have that. Then I wanted this kind of in the background as well, and then we're going to have her book here. And this spread is an ode to my childhood. When I was a kid, there was nothing better than getting a book in the summertime and just going out in the yard and just reading my book, and it would take me away to all these wonderful places. You know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I'd be off in Narnia, A Wrinkle in Time, Little Women, my Anne of Green Gables, of course. Just trying to get a layout here. And so this is sort of an ode to that time when things were simple. All right, so I'm going to cut this off because this is getting in my way here. So I'm just going to cut a bit of that off. That out of the way. And I kind of like how that looks like that. All right, I like how I've got equal borders on each side. I like how it's sort of towards the top. So I'm just going to get that down, and I'm just going to use a little bit of Elmer's glue all. I'm not going to put a lot. If I put a lot, it's going to wrinkle my paper. And with paper and this glue, you don't really need a lot. It doesn't need to be welded down. It's not going to be getting in the way, so, and if I don't like it later. And if some of the edges pop up, it just adds a little bit of dimension to your page. Okay, and then get this little flower down. And along the stem. Okay, get that down. I wanted that kind of there, like so. Awesome. All right, and then we've got, I want to put our bottom bit down. And I was wondering if I wanted it that thick, but I do because, or, you know, if you don't want it that thick, you could always just you could cut it in half and just have a little bit at the bottom. But I think that's good because I'm going to have a little piece of washi there too. So let's just get that down. So these bits, the flowers and this little bit at the bottom, kind of frames my page. Okay. So let's cut off. All right, and then I was kind of thinking, I liked this checkered washi. Reminds me of picnics and picnic blankets. Usually red, but green is a nice summer garden color. And then I had some solid green, but I also had 2 different thicknesses of gold, which I think I want to go for the bottom part. I'm going to go with this thicker washi and try to get it straight. Sorry if my head gets in the way. It's stuck to my finger. All right, there we go. Okay, so I kind of like how that just adds a little bit of something to the bottom. So she's going to sit right around there. And then we'll have our book about there, and she's lost in her book. So I think the book is the next thing to get down. I'm kind of happy with that placement. And I also was thinking, but I couldn't find, well, actually I was thinking about it and then I forgot about it. But I was thinking about actually putting a little piece of ribbon as the bookmark. So if you have a little piece of ribbon, I couldn't find, I had pulled out my stash here, which is just offcuts, and I had little different pieces, but I couldn't really find, like this might work, but it kind of reminded me a bit of Christmas. But then who doesn't like a little bit of Christmas? Reminder to be, and I just didn't have any other, except I did go to the materials shop, and I did get some very thin pink stuff. Pink, blue, and green, which I'm not sure that's going to go good there. I'm not sure. I still think that's a little bit, yeah, I'm not sold on that, but if you have something that you think would go there, then by all means, check it out. I think I might have did I hit the camera? Did I make you guys nauseous? All right. And then at the very top, I was thinking I had some thinner gold washi. And I thought that I would just add a very little thin strip of this at the top. There we go. It's Saturday here, and this is going to come out on Friday. And I jumped out of bed at 6:30 because I realized I had overslept. I was hoping to get up earlier. So I have a lot to do today. And it's about noonish now. So I got up and I tried to get things prepared for this and for my Collage with Mish video for Wednesday. But then I wanted to get to the dollar store for 8 o'clock when it opened so that I could get some coffee, some instant coffee, because this is the first sunny Saturday that, well, it's not even really, it's kind of sunny. It's not raining, and that's the whole joyousness about today. But I've been wanting to do coffee dyed paper for weeks, and by the time I get off work and home, it's just too late, and the weekends have been raining. So I got up, got myself organized for today, and then went off to the dollar store to get some coffee. I came back, and I got the coffee paper soaking. Then I ran off to Value Village. I had some stuff to donate, and of course I had to go in there and see what was going on. And actually I got some good deals today. And then, okay, so I just wanted to put a little bit of gold metallic thread behind the butterfly so that when I'm turning the page, it will pick up the light. So we've done that, and so you can kind of see it there a little bit. And I'm only going to put down the center of him, her, them. And I'm just going to use a little bit of double-sided tape. And I'm thinking if she's going to go sort of in the middle, then let's put our little butterfly kind of here. I think would work well. I'm going to just pull that up a little bit. Okay. And then when you can see the little gold thread behind there, which I like that effect. Okay, and then I had this little butterfly that we cut out of because she has to have a little friend. And I was kind of thinking of putting a little bit of something behind her, a doily, or I don't know, maybe even a little bit of lace. But I was quite happy with the way that is. I've got some little gems to embellish the flowers in her hair. You could you could have put thread behind her instead if you want it. Okay. So I think that's good. And then I'm just going to put some glue in the middle there. And that's going to be her little friend. So I found, these little halfback pearls. And I believe they're the smallest ones that I have. They're tiny. But I thought that would work very well in her hair. But I really didn't like it along her hat. But I really didn't like, just the whiteness. And I've said this before, you can always just take a marker. These are alcohol markers that I'm using here now. And just tint those. Can't really see that. Tint those to a color that you might like. Okay, and if you're unsure, just test them over to the side. So these flowers that she has in her hair have kind of like a yellow center. So I don't care if these are really yellow. I just didn't want them to be really white. Okay. So these are sort of, this here is light pumpkin pie. So I'm just going to use my pokey tool to get that up. If I can. They're so small. And I'm just going to get them in her hair. In her hat. There's one. And then I'm just going to pull this a bit closer. Two. And there's one there. Oops. Okay, so we have just 3 little ones in her hair, which I think are cute. And then I've pulled out these. I haven't used these for a while. They're these, I think they're honeybee, they're called. I wasn't that impressed with them, to be honest. They fall off they don't fall off your project. They just seem to fall off the cellophane here. But it had a mix of colors, which I thought would work out good for our project. And so there's some blue, there's a pink one. Then we got our little guy here. I'm going to use one of my Spellbinders ones, my favorite ones. And I think I'm running out of that really nice size. So I think I'll go to plan B and use something else. Oh, and I also want to put let's see here. I don't have any blues out. So what do we got? I don't know if I forgot. Oh, here's some blue. In the background here. Perfect. These are darker. And these are ones I pick up from time to time at Michael's. They got a little assortment there, which is nice. Okay, and I haven't used for a little while. My little favorite ones of these little brass butterflies from Stampin' Up. But I thought this would be a good time to use a couple of these ones too. Like so. Okay, and then is there any place that we want to add our Stella? You know, Stella likes to be involved in projects. I'm just gonna, so if you don't know what Wink of Stella is, it's a glitter aqua writer, and it's when whatever the blending fluid is, water and glycerin maybe, but when it dries, it leaves a little shimmer. It's not like glitter glue. It doesn't leave, you know, an in-your-face glitter. It just adds a little shimmer of glitter. It's more subtle, I guess, what I'm trying to say. And what about her shoes? Every little girl likes to have Dorothy shoes. Red, sparkly shoes. And we'll put a little bit there. All right, and I think that is our page. Let's see how it's going to look. I won't take time to do it now, but it's going to go right there. And I think it'll make a great addition beside, I really love that little girl on that side. That's, but we didn't put a saying. Oh gosh. I got too many projects on the go. Every day is a new opportunity. A real artist. I just wanted something about, you know, I don't know. I might have to, I can't find my Tim Holtz. I might have to come back. She dreamed beautiful dreams. I want something like she was, enjoy every detail of their journey. To find she was perfectly alone. These fond memories, that's what I'm going to put there. This is just a little, these fond memories. Yeah, loved reading. Okay, so that is our page for this week. So I did hope you enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, I'd love a like and to subscribe if you haven't. But until we meet again, I do hope that you stay safe and well, and bye for now.